Are we good to go, Sam?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Maureen Daniels, and I'm the Director of Wellness for Berkshire Health Systems. And it's my pleasure to join you today on this sort of fascinating webinar series we've been hosting. I want to thank Maria Sawa for joining us last week and presenting that fascinating webinar on staying positive during uncertain times. If you haven't seen it, it is recorded, as all of our workshops are being recorded and placed on the YouTube channel for your viewing pleasure when it works for you. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend some time talking about our hygiene habits for a healthy, happy immune system. And while that might be like, yeah, we know about the masking and the hand washing, I'm going to hopefully share a couple nuggets of information that maybe we haven't thought enough about as we take care of our own health and well-being during these times. So I'm going to share my screen. Here we go. And as again, hygiene habits for a healthy immune system.
Maureen, you just need to swap the displays.
So sorry?
Swap the displays if you go to settings, like we did before. We're seeing the presenter view at the moment.
Are you? I'm going to stop the share and try that again then. Again.
There we go.
Better?
Yep.
Wonderful. That wasn't so bad. So as I said, our goals today are going to be to review some of the basics of staying safe, to safely improve our immune system, even in this pandemic, right? This is sort of what we've been talking about for the last 7 weeks as well. And then how and why our microbiome needs our creativity now more than ever. Really important to start with the basics of our hygiene and our health and well-being. So we know that we need to stop the spread, that this is really important information for us to sort of encompass. We need to wear the mask. We need them to wear the mask a lot. We need to wash our hands. We need to stay 6 to 10 feet apart. All of those basic information and tips that we've had from the CDC, from our MassGov, from our health system here around how do we stay safe during this pandemic. Some of those basics. We need to continue to stay strong, even though we may be in what we're now hearing the phrase COVID fatigue, where we're a little tired of hearing about COVID. We're a little tired of wearing the mask. We're a little tired of staying away from our family and friends. But now more than ever, we really need to be vigilant on what we can do to keep this virus out of our system. Avoiding those crowds. We're going to talk a little bit about cleaning our stuff, cleaning our all of those pieces of the things that we touch so often. We're going to talk about opening our windows and opening our hearts and how that can improve our immune system as well. So let's get started with, the number one opportunity that we know we've been told over and over is to wear the mask. So this puppy here is showing all the various ways that we could possibly wear the mask. We know it's really important to wear the mask correctly. To the middle guy, bottom row with the green check mark over the nose, over the mouth, securely placed, and he's not looking so happy about it, but he is healthy as he's wearing it. We also want to think about taking it off correctly. So those hooks over the ears are the opportunity to hold on to as we take it off. We want to be careful not to touch the front of that mask or the inside of that mask, because that's really the barrier that we want to keep the virus from entering our system or exiting our system to somebody else. Wearing the mask is actually respecting those around us. I actually just had an interaction with a gentleman who apologized for wearing his mask. as we were met outside, and we are way past apologizing for wearing masks. This should not be part of the conversation. It should be thank you for wearing that mask. I want to talk a little bit about storing it as well and what to do with this mask when we're out and about. Possibly you are comfortable going out to a restaurant. So we wear the mask to the table, we sit down, we take the mask off to eat. What do we do with that mask? So that it stays healthy and keeps everything around it clean as well. So if you can carry a brown paper bag, those old lunch bags that we had as kids, and placing it inside of that, that is the safest, best way to keep your mask when you're out in public. Also, washing it safely. So, you know, the puppy here has a surgical mask, which is okay to wear. It's what we wear at Berkshire Health Systems when we're at work. But the CDC recommends that a 2-ply cloth mask is perfectly fine to be wearing, especially for those essential workers at the grocery store, people, the mail carrier, people who are not working in healthcare can certainly wear a double-ply cloth mask. Please leave the N95s for those healthcare workers that need them to care for patients. Most of us in the health system don't wear N95s. We have no need to wear N95 masks. So they are tough to find for sure. And so we want to make sure the right people have those. The other thing to keep in mind when we're sort of focused on these masks, and they have really, people have come out with some really gorgeous ones, some jazzy ones, is also caring for it and washing it. And it should be washed on a daily basis. If you're wearing it daily, it should be washed daily so that it cleans the germs. But it's not something you want to necessarily throw in your washing machine with your Tide Pods. Sorry, Tide, but but something with a cleaner, maybe just hand soap in the sink and let air dry, because those laundry soaps and the fabric softeners have actually some pretty harsh chemicals in most of them. Most of us don't buy the real clean product, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But hand washing your mask and letting it air dry completely, so that it's dry and able to be clean to breathe through for the next time you wear it. The last thing about the mask is finding ways to take it off, which means that you are alone, you are safely away from people, you are outdoors, you are somewhere where you are not going to be concerned about the droplets contacting anybody else that comes from you or you receiving anybody else. That allows you to breathe the regular air. It allows us to breathe the allergens and the fresh air and the dirt, and our body does need that. So when you can take the mask off safely for yourself and those around you, please do so, because that is healthy for our immune system as well. The second one is, wash our paws, right? We need to wash our hands all the time, not hourly, but really when we think about how often we should be washing our hands, it's anytime you walk through your door, right? So if I come from home to work, I should wash my hands when I arrive at work, because I may have touched 2 or 3 or 4 different things before I got to work. If I go home at the end of the day, I certainly am going to wash my hands as one of the first things I do when I walk in the house, after grocery shopping, after exercising, we're going to wash our hands. But using just basic soap and water is really what is suggested by the CDC. And it's really important to be thinking that. They do suggest 20 seconds, happy birthday twice around, to improve your mental health, maybe switching to different songs. Maybe you turn on the radio. Maybe you dance while you're washing your hands. Maybe you make a game of it, right? So maybe you stand on one foot to work on your balance while you're washing your hands. But washing our hands when they're dirty, when we come in the house, when we have been around other people, especially if we've been around people who have been sick. And if we cough or sneeze, we certainly want to try to become Dracula and cough into our elbow, right? As Count Dracula does. But if even then, we will want to wash our hands. Just a moment about wearing of gloves, specifically the plastic gloves. The CDC, Center for Disease Control, strongly suggests not wearing gloves to do errands. They do suggest wearing gloves when you're cleaning and when you are taking care of a sick person. But other than that, not wearing gloves is really important. And just washing your hands again with soap and water is really important. The other real important tip is that keeping 6 to 10 feet apart, which has been difficult, and I think is also important for us to be thinking about now that it's getting colder and we're moving more inside. Important piece here is we really want to stay socially connected but physically distant. If we can keep that 6 to 10 feet apart and mask, there is amazing amount of research that is the safest way to be during this pandemic. They did a really interesting, there were 2 hairdressers early on in April who both were infected. They did not realize it. They had symptoms, but they went to work. They wore masks. Their clients wore masks. In 3-day period, they saw over 150 clients in their hair salon, and no one became infected from those hairdressers because they had masks as well as the clientele had masks. And you're pretty close when you are doing your hair, as someone's doing your hair. So we know that the masks really do work, but the physical distance is the added bonus for us. So back to that COVID fatigue that we're concerned about, that people are getting a little tired to talk about COVID, right? We're hearing that from people. I'm tired of talking about COVID. The concern is COVID's not tired of us, right? So we still need to stay vigilant on how to take care of ourselves. So we have to get creative. We have to be thinking about how do we avoid crowds? How do we stay connected, especially as the days are getting cooler? We had this gorgeous summer, amazing fall. People were out. You could physically distance and be together in your backyard or at the lake. You could go to eat outside. Many people were comfortable eating outside at restaurants. But as it's going to snow in 2 days here, we need to start thinking about getting creative so that we can stay socially connected. And as the holidays come, how do we stay socially connected and get creative on staying together? So really an important opportunity. And if you have ideas, I'm happy to hear about those as well, because it's an important time for us to continue on our quest to stay physically apart. So cleaning our stuff. Sorry, I'm not clinical, so I like to just call a spade, and you'll see here that this person has donned their rubber gloves, really trying to take care of their skin as they are working with disinfectants and cleaning the facility. So knowing that we need to up our ante, right? We need to be really aware of our physical surfaces that we touch quite a bit. How we take care of those, and really important to use a chemical that will kill the virus. So reading labels, Center for Disease Control has a great link to chemicals that should be used to help kill the virus. Also, another site is the Environmental Working Group, ewg.org, which I pulled quite a bit of information here from, is how we can clean and also take care of our immune system, how we can take care of our lungs, how we can take care of our microbiome, our skin, our mouth, our gut microbiome is really important as we're using harsh chemicals to kill this virus in our on our surfaces. So important when we think about cleaning with wipes and sprays, reading the directions. So often we just assume they're all the same. And I can assure you, in talking with our housekeeping manager, they are not all created equal. And the cleaning and kill time is different for different liquids and different disinfectants. So read the label. Often things need to stay wet for a certain period of time. So the surface should be wet for anywhere up to 3 to 6 minutes as that liquid helps to kill whatever is on that surface. So reading the instructions is really, really important. Also, starting with sort of the basic is, if the surface is dirty, clean it with soap and water first. Don't waste your disinfectant trying to get through some of the stains from food or spaghetti sauce or what have you, right? So if you're in your kitchen. Use that disinfectant on things you touch a lot. So doorknobs and steering wheels and light switches and keyboards and your cell phone, and be aware of how to clean those items so that you don't ruin them. The cell phone is a pretty costly item that you don't necessarily want to just wipe down every hour, because it will take away the opportunity for your fingerprints to be able to be used on the screen. So again, you'll want to sort of do a little information, a little research into what makes the most sense to clean your items. Also keeping in mind of fragrances and any chemicals or disinfectants that have added some fragrances, such as lavender or lemon. Those are just added chemicals. So to really be careful around not using some of those fragrant detergents, because those are just added chemicals that will also go into the air and also into your lungs and into your system. So keeping free from added fragrances in those. In the hospital, we don't use anything with a fragrance. Wearing gloves when you're cleaning, as this person is, keep your skin safe. And also when you're thinking about disinfecting items in your home, being careful around things that may end up in your mouth. So if you have children, and specifically babies and toddlers, every toy goes in their mouth, right? So you would never want to use a disinfectant on their toys. On your pet food bowls, you would not want to use disinfectant, Clorox cleaners, what have you, on your pet food bowls that they're then going to eat out of. The same with your own food. We've heard of people sort of wiping down apples with Clorox wipes. Please don't do that. That is not a good route for us to stay healthy and well. And then refresh often, right? So making sure that things are wet when you need that. The other piece is to think about how harsh do you need to go with some of your surface cleaning. So for example, in this week's email that came out yesterday that Beth Pantoni sent us all, she had some make your own cleaners, which are really, really great, like a toilet bowl cleaner. I don't necessarily think anyone touches a toilet bowl, so you don't really need to worry that much about how harshly you're cleaning your toilet bowl. Same for mopping your floor. If you're worried about COVID being on your shoes, most of us don't wear our shoes in our house anymore because we know that there's so much chemicals and pesticides and dirt on the lawns and out in the environment that we leave our shoes at the door. So finding ways that you can maybe reduce the amount of harsh chemicals when you're comfortable. Also in the laundry, and I had mentioned that too, but when you're thinking about the laundry and the dryer sheets, they have what's called volatile organic compounds, which are chemicals which can negatively affect your body, and some are linked or are carcinogenic. So we really want to be careful about when we're using our laundry detergent and or dryer sheets, what level of chemicals we are washing our clothes with, specifically our mask that is so close to our breathing, nose and mouth area. But our sheets that we sleep in are really important as well. So a lot of research has been done around the chemicals that are in our laundry detergents, in the air fresheners, the Febreze, that type of thing. And there's some really great ways to use some natural ways to freshen your house up. There's, a pot of water on the stove with lemons and limes, and you simmer that for an hour or two. Or in the fall, it's cinnamon sticks and clove, and utilize that, and you smell like an apple pie in your house. You could also make an apple pie, but don't tell people I said that. And then the other piece around this cleaning is really being careful around opening windows when you clean and ventilating your home. And keeping the windows open when you are using some of these harsh chemicals so that you have fresh air coming through. If you have small children, try not to clean around your small children and have them either be outside in the backyard or when they're at school, if they get to go to school these days. But really thinking about the chemicals in the air and ventilating. My children go to the Pittsfield school districts, and they did announce that the windows will be open all through the winter. So opening windows and allowing the air to refresh is really a powerhouse move for our health and well-being. But it could also just be the fan over the oven, right? As you're cooking, turning that fan on and allowing that ventilation. So, and in week 2, Dr. Pettis spoke quite a bit about our microbiome. And, we know that this microbiome in our intestines and our gut area is, about 70% of our immune system is found to be part of that microbiome. So taking good care of how that is really important when we're trying to build our immune system while staying safe in this time. We know that also the microbiome is also in our oral cavity, in our mouth, in our throat, as well as our skin. Those are our top 3 microbiomes, right? So how we take care of those is really important. And I think it's important to be thinking about as we are upping our ante with cleaning. It is disrupting our microbiome. As we are wearing our mask, it is affecting germs not getting in, and we do need germs. We need the whole gamut. So again, sort of regulating and changing our microbiome and our mitochondria is really important to be aware of. There's a fascinating new study that just came out recently from Finland, where they, at daycares, they added sort of what they call a forest floor. They brought in soil, they brought in plants, they brought in blueberry bushes. They allowed the children to dig in the pots and repot plants and get dirty, right? And what they found in a very short period of time, in less than 8 weeks, is those children's microbiome, their gut, their skin health was so much healthier. Their immune system was so much healthier in just that short period of time in comparison to children in daycares with, sort of blacktop for recess time, where you play Foursquare, you play basketball. These children who got to dig in the dirt just for, less than an hour a day, we're really much healthier. So we know that that is an opportunity, and it's an opportunity for us here. We are so lucky to live in the Berkshires. For those of my friends on the webinar who are local, you can go out and dig in your backyard or go to a hiking place. So that gut health is so important. I'm going to spend a little time here on our oral health microbiome and the importance of how we take care of, the gateway into our body, right? So if we know that our gut microbiome is 70-ish% of our immune system, our mouth is really the gateway to that. And it's really an important piece that we take care of and be aware of how healthy it is. how healthy our teeth and our gums are, how healthy our tongue is, and our saliva, right? So we know that when we exercise, we have more saliva. We know that when we're stressed out, we have less saliva, right? So when we're stressed and we have dry mouth, it actually affects our microbiome. It allows the bad germs to sort of grow faster than when we have more saliva. So really important pieces of the puzzle, and really no shock to, you know, sort of us thinking about, yeah, it's one whole piece here, it's one whole body. So a couple ideas around taking care of our oral health and our mouth care is, you know, the toothbrushes, right? So change that out every 3-ish months. Make sure that if you are sick, you toss that old toothbrush and get a fresh one. There's some good research around the electronic toothbrushes, and certainly your dentist can talk to you a little bit about whether or not you should invest in an electronic toothbrush. But really what the Center for Disease Control, the CDC, suggests, and the I apologize, I lost my train of thought. But what is really suggested is brushing first thing in the morning to reduce that plaque and the buildup from sleeping, last thing at night, and then after meals, especially if they're sugary, carby meals, starchy meals that there's sort of a growth on the teeth. And flossing once or twice a day. So really spending some time and making sure you're flossing. But one of the things that I think is really important that the Dentist Association has suggested is your oral health microbiome is really about what you're eating and how you're eating. So when we eat sugary, simple carb foods, or we drink alcohol, that is affecting our mouth health, right? So if we can switch to healthier fruits and veggies, more veggies than fruits, but veggies, good fats, and clean protein, that is a great switch for the health of our mouth care as well. Visiting the dentist every 6 months, which was tricky because in the beginning of this pandemic, many of the dentist offices closed down. I just heard here locally that 7 dentists retired in the last 7 months. And so we know we may have a shortage of dentists. So, and if you have a comorbidity, if you have heart issues, if you have diabetes, you should be going out 3 to 4 times a year to be checked out by a dentist and have a real good cleaning. So scheduling with a dentist, getting in with a dentist, spending some time with that person is really important. Also scraping your tongue. So we brush our teeth, we floss our teeth, and then hopefully we spend a little time on our tongue as well to reduce some of the buildup there. There's also some really interesting research around ditching the mouthwash. So, you know, if you listen to the TV and Listerine kills 99.9% of the germs in your mouth, we need those germs. That's our microbiome, right? We need the good germs. So we don't want to kill the good stuff. So it's okay to not swish and spit with the Listerine or the scope. There are some cleaner mouthwashes out there. Also, the alcohol that is in many of the mouthwashes can also affect the microbiome as well. So really opportunities there for us to be thinking a little differently, because that oral health is really the link to our gut health and impacts our immune system pretty dramatically, right? And then, you know, just a few minutes about our skin and our skin microbiome. So that, you know, skin is our largest organ, and it is really a powerful opportunity for us to take care of ourselves. It keeps us moisturized, it exfoliates us, it protects us, it keeps our pH in balance. But when it's disrupted, it can be really harmful to both the skin as well as interior. Our skin health is linked to our gut health as well as our brain health. You know, so anything from when we're thriving microbiome is linked to preventing eczema and rosacea, acne, and even premature aging. So those of us with our lines, maybe we should have less harsh chemicals. The skin really wants to be left alone. It does like to have less products on it, less chemicals in it. So again, when we are using more chemicals to clean, which we need to do, we need to clean and kill viruses near us, we should be wearing gloves, possibly wearing a mask when you're using those cleaners, but being careful around that harsh skincare too. Being careful around what's in your skin product. And again, back to that website that I like, that environmental working group, they actually can rate, they have a tab on there that they rate skincare products, including sunscreen, as the healthiest, with the less chemicals in it, that are the cleaner product for us. So really great opportunities for us to just rethink about, well, I've always used this soap on my skin. Maybe there's something better out there for us. So when we think about some of the other science-backed ways to improve our skin microbiome, things like getting a pet, having pet dander in your house is healthy for your skin. Getting enough sun, so being outside, and certainly now, we're doing the time change this Sunday, so we'll have less sunlight for a few months. But finding a way midday to get outside, or especially on the weekends, to try and expose your skin to the sunlight can be really helpful. Exercising is a powerhouse move for our skin. When we sweat, when we release those toxins from our body, that is really helpful for our skin. Living with roommates, seriously, living with other people and the dander they give off, right? So again, back to, we need to be exposed to, we can't be too clean or our germs won't do well. So we do need to be around other pets and or humans. If there's some fascinating research, I was sort of reading about some of the farm kids, and that's been watched for many, many years, is that kids who live on farms typically have less allergies, typically have less asthma, typically are dirtier. They are exposed to more germs than someone who lives in a high rise in the middle of the city. So really, we need to be around these people. We need to touch other humans safely. Hopefully you have someone in your pod that you can hug and touch on a regular basis, with consent, of course. We need to eat fresh fruits and veggies. We need to nourish our skin from the inside. We need to drink more water, right? Our skin just wants us to drink water. It doesn't want coffee, doesn't want tea, wants us to drink water. And spend more time outside and less alcohol. Right, that alcohol is a disruptor for our oral care, for our skin care as well. So skin microbiome, really an opportunity for us to think about our immune system from the outside in. So my colleagues have shared some wonderful information on nutrition and exercise, sleep, stress, positive power positivity, spirituality. Just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about our immune boosting opportunities, our hygiene around food, exercise, and sleep. With food, what the Center for Disease Control is suggesting is that we do wash our produce when we bring it home, that we don't necessarily have to wipe off all our groceries. If you recall, in March and April, many people were sort of letting their groceries sit for 2 days. They're really not finding that the coronavirus lives on those packaging. But washing those exposed fruits and veggies underwater is perfectly great. There are other levels. Some people use vinegar. Some people, I would not buy one of the products around the veggie washings, because again, when you buy those products, they have a lot of chemicals in them. But washing our fruits and veggies when we get them home is really important. Here locally, go local to your local farm stand. Many of them are open through the winter. We have this great program called Berkshire Organics, and they have done the research for us. They sell local and organic food, and not to worry. Sometimes it's not that expensive. It's not that overly expensive. The other thing is we go into the winter months. It may actually be healthier for us, for our immune system, to buy the frozen fruits and veggies in the freezer aisle than what's in the veggie aisle that's fresh, sort of fresh from other countries that have been shipped for over 3 weeks, right? So if we buy it frozen, that was picked and sealed, frozen right within the same day, they have been able to snap those nutrients inside that bag faster than possibly the broccoli that's out fresh in the veggie aisle. So think frozen when you're in the winter months. For exercise hygiene, I think it's really important. Please, please, please do exercise. We are, again, so lucky to be here in the Berkshires where we have these amazing hills and mountains that are like treadmill inclines with fresh air. So finding places that you can go and be physically distant from other people, finding ways to be outside, finding ways to touch some of the things, whether it's bark on trees, whether it's you're picking up, you're doing a scavenger hunt of how many different colored leaves you can find this weekend, whether it's, having a bonfire and picking up the tree limbs in your backyard and putting them in the bonfire, touching the things in nature also. If you are moving inside as it gets colder and you're planning to exercise inside, please feel comfortable wearing that mask and keeping that physical distance from people. Don't jump on the next treadmill. And most of our gyms have done an amazing job to set us up for success. They want to stay open. They want you to stay well. So wiping down the equipment before you use it, right? Take that ownership of not sure if it's clean, then let's clean it. And then wiping it down when you are done with it as well. And then sleep hygiene, Dr. Ringler, I love listening to Dr. Ringler talk about the impact of sleep and our immune system and the research that's there. And I think it's really a powerful tool for us to be thinking, but how do I get to sleep? How do I set myself up for the best night's sleep? And one of the things I like to align it with is if you're a parent and you've had a child or 8, you remember when they were a baby, you had a routine. We had a warm bath, we wrapped them in a warm towel and then put fuzzy PJs on them. We read them a book. We rocked them with a warm bottle. We rubbed their back. We got them settled down, right? And as adults, we have sort of gotten away from giving ourselves permission to have a routine to set us up for a great night's sleep. But wouldn't that be interesting if we turned off all electronics an hour before bedtime? If we read a book, if we took a long bath, if we had a warm cup of milk or tea or what have you, if we, maybe meditated, maybe we talked about what 3 things went well, right? What was the best part of my day? Maria Swat, what is the best part of my day today? And that's how you end your day versus, watching a Netflix, whatever, and then jumping in bed and wondering why I can't turn off my brain, right? So giving ourselves permission to have a routine to build that great sleep. The other is, if you ever recall going on vacation, right? And you've had remember the bed? Oh, I was so comfortable that I get the greatest night's sleep. Well, we can build those in our own homes because we only go on vacation for 7 nights a year. We're in our own homes 345 nights a year. So invest in a great mattress, buy some really great sheets. No one should be in scratchy sheets at all. have comfortable pillows, have a down comforter that you just sink into and enjoy, right? Have a bed that you don't want to get out of. And that will help set us up for a great night's sleep. So we have these opportunities to be thinking a little differently about our food, our exercise, our sleep, and they all impact our immune health and our hygiene. That's sort of, we call those sleep hygiene habits. So sort of thinking about that way. And then my colleague Lisa Laramie did such a great job talking about the importance of nature and being in the great outdoors. I do apologize, but the snow is coming. I think, you know, for our immune system, being outside in the fresh air and the sunlight, being outside, it helps our mental health as well. It allows us to turn off some of the chatter that's going on. There's a great app that I just downloaded on my phone, and it's called All Trails. And if you put it on your phone, it'll tell you the local trails, it'll give you the distance, it'll tell you where to find it. We have great opportunity. But as the weather turns colder, many of us just want to hibernate, right? So we just want to stay inside. But what's so important for our immune system this winter more than ever is to be outside, to get that fresh air, to be exposed to the sunlight. And so, you know, there's this theory that there's no such thing as bad weather, there's just bad clothing, right? So if we build it up so that we succeed outside, if we start thinking of the outdoors as just an extension of our indoor life, and we have things like fire pits in the middle of the winter, if we have, maybe we have a cold picnic outside in the middle of the winter. Maybe we go, it doesn't have to be skating and sledding and all, you know, what kids do, but it's just long walks, right? Maybe it's hikes through the woods, or maybe you do jump on your bike when the roads are clear and it's safe, right? So ideas around being outside, because being outside really helps as well, because with COVID-19, that fresh air and movement is really helpful, but also it turns out that the outside environment dissipates those aerosols really quickly. It's different than indoors. So when we're outside, it's safer. And you know, she's got a nice mask on. It's a great, probably triple, quadruple layer of cloth over her mouth and nose. So 4 ways to enjoy a COVID winter, because it'll be here before we know it. One is to dress to linger. So dress in layers, get really comfy clothes, have really fuzzy mittens and wonderful scarves, and snow pants. My mother, when I was 42, my mother sent me snow pants, and they are the most favorite item I have in the winter, is my snow pants. They are a game changer. So when you dress for the weather, you can last longer. Put your snow boots by the door, just like what we tell in the summer. Put your sneakers by the door as a reminder. Put your snow boots by the door so that you're reminded. So often we need a nudge, right? We need to be reminded, let's get outside. Aim for just 10 minutes. In the exercise world, we talk about just give yourself 10 minutes, because often 10 minutes, you'll do 15, right? If you just get started. So if you tell yourself, I'm just going to go out for 10 minutes. You also, if you do just stay out for 10 minutes, you start to build up your sort of that exposure, right? It helps to get more comfortable in the colder weather. So if you just 10 minutes, and then maybe next week it's 15. So you start to build up that momentum. And then, you know, maybe you can outfit your outdoor space wherever you live with some winter items. Maybe you do have a fire pit all year round. Maybe you have blankets on your porch so that you say, I'm at least going to sit outside when I get out of the office. We're in the office a lot. And I'm going to sit outside for 10 minutes and I have a blanket here. Maybe you drive to the lake and you sit in your car and you watch the sunset with the windows down and you let that air come through. Finding ways for you to be outside where you're feeling healthy is really a booster for our immune system and really important for our hygiene. And then, the last piece around building our immune system and our hygiene, happy hygiene, I just needed to talk a little bit about the impact of acts of kindness on our immune system. So we know there's amazing research that the impact of kindness impacts our immune system through the release of serotonin and serotonin and oxytocin. Sorry, I can never say it, I apologize. Oxytocin. And the idea is that those hormones released in our body help to regulate things like our blood pressure, helps to regulate things like our depression. And the really amazing thing about these acts of kindness are you don't have to be the person that performs the act of kindness or receives the act of kindness. You just have to see the act of kindness, and it has a physical impact on your health and well-being. That's why some of these pictures on social media go viral, right? That the police officer buying the socks and shoes for the homeless person gets shared a million times. There's this really amazing book called The Rabbit Effect. And the rabbit effect is all based on how healthy living does not happen in the doctor's office. Healthy living actually happens how we act and how we take care of each other and how we take care of ourselves. So this acts of kindness could be yourself as well. But the rabbit effect in 1978, a pretty straightforward experiment designed to establish a relationship between high blood cholesterol and heart health in rabbits, found that acts of kindness impacted the health of the rabbits more than the medicine itself. So what happened was they were doing a study in a lab on rabbits using a new cholesterol medication and tracking how the rabbits were responding, different pods of rabbits. And everybody had the same regime. And there's one pod of rabbits that did exceptionally well. And they went back and they reviewed the research and they reviewed the protocols and they tried to figure out what was different. The one thing that was different with that pod of rabbits was the caretaker. The caretaker would actually come and hold the rabbits and pet the rabbits, talk to the rabbits. The other ones would feed the rabbits and, give them water and give them the medication. But this one lab assistant couldn't help herself. She just, she would just be this nurturing doctor who, was taking care of these pets, right? And what happened was it made the difference between heart attack and a healthy heart because of how she cared for it. And we've seen that research over and over again. An anesthesiologist that talks kindly to someone as they're putting them to sleep and talks about how healthy they're going to be and how they're going to respond to the surgery, that patient responds better and leaves the hospital quicker with less pain medication than the patient that the anesthesiologist did not talk to. The impact of kindness is a powerful free component for our immune system. And the more we can do that, we say not so random acts of kindness. Random acts of kindness really blew up a few years ago, and I'll pay for the guy's coffee behind me, or I'll, put flowers on the desk of a coworker, right? But the not so random acts of kindness, when we think about, this weekend, I'm going to make dinner for my neighbors because they're elderly and I worry about them. Those have more impact on us because we're thinking about them, we're planning for them, we're preparing for them, and then we're actually performing that. So little plug on random acts of kindness, but really linking it back to our health and well-being. That Rabbit Effect book is an amazing book if you want to learn more about really research-based impact of kindness on our health and well-being. Oh, so I'm at the end of my presentation, and we're talking here in our office around, boy, this was fun to do. Let's do it again. So we have a save the date. We don't have a perfect title yet. So I'm just going to say we're going to have a winter rejuvenation series that will do very similar to what we're doing here. We'll start it on the third Wednesday in January and run through, I think that's 8 weeks, to March 10th. And same time, same bat channel. We'll record them and put them on our YouTube channel so that we can share and really just talk about more around self-care, taking good care of ourselves, intuitive learning, decluttering our spaces. We've got some ideas that are popping around. So we hope that you'll join us, and we have your emails, so we'll remind you as well that's coming up. The other piece is in this week's email that Beth sent us all, there was an evaluation for the series. So if you could take time to give us your candid information and feedback, that would be really great. We do want to always improve on what we're doing, whether this is helpful or not, whether you have ideas of where a direction we could go, that would be great. So save the date is really an important opportunity for you. And then next week, you are so lucky that next week, Dr. Alex Sabo will be the presenter. And he's going to talk about stress management / improving our resiliency. And Dr. Sabo has been the director for behavioral health here at the health system for 25 plus years. He's now the director of medical education and a certified yoga instructor who really embodies mind, body, spirit. And so I hope you can join us next week. Because that will surely be a great opportunity for us to improve our stress management. If there are any questions, I do have a few minutes. I can possibly take those. Oh, these are my references. The blue zones are pretty powerful as well. If you're not familiar with the blue zones, check that site out as well. So I'll stop my share and let's see if there's a question from Chelsea. Antibacterial wipes work for the virus? Yes, antibacterial wipes, but read the directions, read the label for sure. But they do work on the virus, depending on, and be careful of which brand for sure. Please check out Center for Disease Control.gov website for their suggested disinfectants that are the best for killing the virus. Best way to clear your phone. Clear your phone or clean your phone? Clear your phone, boy, that's a opportunity for sure. Cleaning, thanks Emily, to clean your phone is really just, again, read the instructions for your phone, because we certainly are be very careful around not wiping it down too much. I would suggest, and what I've read from Center for Disease Control is you should clean your phone on a daily basis, but not necessarily scrubbing the wipes every time you come in and out of a door, because it will reduce your finger trail on the screen. It'll start wiping away that finger trail. So, but wipes are really helpful on the phone. Also, if you have a case, taking it out of the case so that you can wash the case in soap and water and let that dry well, but then using the wipe on the phone itself. Let's see, a couple in the chats here. Well, if there's no other questions, thank you so much for those that stuck around. I appreciate it. And again, this will be recorded and put on our YouTube channel along with all of the others. There's a new yoga going up as well. Shannon Ashcroft presented a yoga class yesterday for us. And next week, our own Beth Piantoni will do a body weight workout on Tuesday as well. So really great to have you with me today. Thanks so much. And remember to wear the mask and take the mask off. Thanks so much. Have a good day.